You got it. All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
Before we get started, we're going to turn to the east and give all praises to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakodash.
We want to give double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, the men that taught us this truth, this 100% truth, the true way of worshiping the Heavenly Father and His Son. We also want to say Shalom to the elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth that believe sincerely in His truth. Shalom. It's a GMS Memphis camp out here on the highways and hedges once again and back at it again with another pre-camp lesson. So I hope this pre-camp lesson be edifying to the elect. Let's go and get into the scriptures. Give me that Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10.
Come. This is Ecclesiasticus, better known as Sirach chapter 12 and verse 10. And it reads, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness."
It said, never trust thy enemy. Go into that word never in the Google.
Come. This is the word never in the Google, and it says, at no time in the past or future, on no occasion, not ever.
So just going based off Esau Edom, the so-called white man past history, look at how he treated you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, and Hispanic. The wicked and cruel acts that he acted towards you. Like for example, the so-called Indians, Gad and Reuben. He came over to this land and slaughtered the Indians, claiming that he discovered this land. And look at what the so-called Indians, look where it got them. Scripture speak about he had put forth his hand to those that was at peace with him. So he couldn't even be trusted back then. So what makes you think he can be trusted right now? Scripture speak about, can a leopard change his spot? Can an Ethiopia change his skin color? The question is no. So the Lord has created this man to be wicked, to be evil towards you. Give me that proverb that you had mentioned earlier.
Come. This is Proverbs 25 and verse 19. And it reads, confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint.
So, bro, you putting your trust in Esau, either like you putting your trust in a broken tooth. You're gonna be left for pain. You're gonna be left for hurt. Go back to that never that bullshit.
Come. This is back in the definition on Google for the word never, and it says at no time in the past or future, on no occasion, not ever. And it says and it says in number 2, it says not at all, and in the similar words it says not at all, certainly not for a moment.
So not even for a second should this man, have your trust. Keep going.
And it says not under or in any circumstance.
So even in life or a death situation, you should not trust this man. Here it is, you could be falling off a cliff. Hey, you better off, man, trying to help yourself, trying to make it off that cliff, then putting your trust in him. Because if anything, he's going to help forward your fall. Keep going.
Yep, and it says under or in no circumstances. It says on no account, no way, not on your life.
And Jacob, you Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, and Hispanic, you trust this man with your life. Because soon something go wrong with your health, you go running down to Egypt for help. You trust in his pharmaceutical, his drugs. And you don't think about turning to the herbs or nothing, or saying to yourself, maybe I should just quit eating this food. It causes my health problem. But you will go to the pharmaceutical and use his drugs, and just making the situation worse and worse.
Yep, and it says back in the similar words for the word never, and it says, not under or in any circumstances, no way, not on your life, not in a million years.
So not in a million years should you trust this land. Not at all, period. Now go back to the Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10.
All right, come. This is back in Sirach, better known as Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
So just as iron rusteth, so do a person wickedness. And I used to work at this little plant where we used to deal with all types of steels and metal. And if you keep iron out for a period of time outside, eventually you're gonna start to see the rust. So that's the same thing if you hang around a wicked person. Eventually you're gonna start to see that person wicked ways. It's gonna start to show in their actions. So who is our enemy? Because you got these so-called leaders, they supposed to be the prophets. They ain't telling you who is your enemy. Well, let's go to Psalms chapter 83, start at 1.
All right, come. This is Psalms 83, and starting at verse 1. It says, keep not thou silence, O Yahweh Shem Yahushai, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Verse 2, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
So it said, so this is Asaph telling the Lord, keep not silent, hold not thy peace, for your enemies is making a tumult. Now what is a tumult? A tumult is a large masses of people in an uproar with confused noise. You read that again.
Yep.
Read verse 2 again.
All right, come. This is Psalms 83 and verse 2. And it reads, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Keep going.
And it says in verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
So these other nations have came together to come up with these wicked plans, these wicked agendas against the Lord's people. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, and Hispanic. And it said hidden ones. The hidden ones are you Israelites. Because it says in Numbers chapter 23, verse 9, that we shall not be reckoned among the nations. Keep going.
Yep, and it says in Psalms 83 and verse 4, for they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So these other nations had an idea how to cut us off, how to strip the name of Israel out of our remembrance. And you can see before we knew that we was Israelites, we even knew the name of the Lord, that hey, we was dead. We didn't know the name of the Lord. We didn't even know about no Hebrew. You ask someone what's the Israelite, you probably might say, man, what is that? Or somebody might came up to you and ask you, do you know anything about a Jew? You probably think towards them gutter rats over there in Israel. So these other nations have came together to wipe out the memory of Israel. Go to Jeremiah 17 and 4. Because the Lord said we're going to discontinue from our inheritance.
Come, this is Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. And it reads, and thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
So the Lord has told us we was going to discontinue from our inheritance, and we was going to serve our enemies in a land that we didn't know. What is that land we didn't know? It was over here in America. Go back to matter of fact, give me Isaiah chapter 47, verse 6.
Come, this is Isaiah 47 and verse 6. I was rough with my people.
So the Lord was angry with his people. Why the Lord was angry with his people? Because we were sacrificing to idols. We were worshiping false gods. So we provoked the Lord to anger. Keep going.
Yep, and it says in Isaiah 47 and verse 6, I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy, upon the ancient as thou very, very heavily laid thy yoke.
So the Lord has polluted his inheritance by giving his people in the hands of his enemies. So the Lord didn't show no mercy to his own people just because we provoked him. We moved them to wrath. Like that. Matter of fact, get that what you had mentioned in Baruch. Yeah. So we had moved the Lord to wrath.
It says in Baruch chapter 4 and verse 6, it says, ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved Yahweh to wrath.
So we were sold to the nation just because we moved the Most High to wrath.
Yep.
Trying to be like the heathens, worshiping these other gods. So what you think the Lord did with his people? He made these other heathens rule over us. The wicked rule over us.
Yep.
Keep on.
And it says in Baruch 4 and verse 6, it says, ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved Yahweh to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies.
Go back to Psalms chapter 83, verse 4.
This is back in Psalms 83 and verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So they have cut us off from being a nation. They have destroyed us. You know, they got all these wicked agendas out here to bring us down as a people. You know, with these ABC community, got men acting like women, acting feminine. And they also came up with ideas putting a woman above the man, splitting the households up and families. All these was wicked ideas that these other nations came together to bring Israel down low, to make them, you know, not be a people. Keep going.
Yep, and it says in Psalms 83 verse 5. It says in Psalms 83 verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. It says in verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom.
So these are the nations that, you know, that came together to overthrow Israel. And the first one is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Keep going.
Yeah, and it says in verse 6 of Psalms 83 and verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites.
The Ishmaelites are the so-called Arabs today. Keep going.
And it says of Moab.
Moab is the so-called Chinese today.
And the Hagarenes.
The Hagarenes, they are the so-called Hamites. The so-called, well, not the so-called, they are the so-called African, but the Hagarenes are the Hamites.
Yep. And it says in verse 7, Gabal.
Gabal, same thing, Hamites.
And
Ammon are the so-called Japanese.
And it says, and Amalek.
Amalek, those are the grandson of Edom. The chief of wickedness. And those are those gutter rats claiming that they are, you know, the so-called Jews today.
And it says the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Also the Hamites.
And it says in verse 8, Ashur also is joined with them.
And Ashur is the Assyrians.
And it says in verse 8, Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot.
And the children of Lot is referring to the Ammon and also the Moabs. You know, the Chinese and the Japanese. So So all these nations has came together to conspire against the Lord's people. You go into that word conspire, it goes into plot. With two or more people plotting evil. So they was plotting evil to wipe out Israel, to wipe the name away, to keep us from not knowing who our true power is, to keep us from not knowing we are Israelites. But the number one enemy is Esau, Edom. He was going to be our number one born enemy. Go to Genesis 25, I think that's 21.
Con, this is Genesis 25 and verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren.
So here it is, this is Isaac praying to the Lord on behalf of his wife, Rebekah. Because Rebekah couldn't have children. So he prayed to the Lord that she could get pregnant. Keep going.
And it says, and the Lord Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived.
So the Lord had answered Isaac's prayers, and Rebekah became pregnant. Keep going.
And it says in verse 22, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord Yahweh.
So she was pregnant with two twins in her womb. And these two twins were struggling. Give me that word struggling from Google.
Come. And it says, struggle in the Google definition, it says make forceful or violent efforts to get free of restraint or constriction.
Done. So what? Hold on. Go to the synonym. Yeah. There you go, right there. Go to the synonym.
Come. It says in the similar words, it says fight, grapple, wrestle, exchange blows.
So these two boys was in Rebekah's womb. They was fighting. They was wrestling. Were coming to blows. So it was like a WWE match in Rebekah's womb. So she went to go ask of the Lord, like, what's going on? Like, what's going on in my womb? Keep reading.
Yeah, and it says in Genesis 25 verse 23, and the Lord Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
So these two boys are two nations of people that were in Rebekah's womb. Keep going.
And the one people, and it says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
So one people will be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Read that in the NLT.
Come. This is Genesis 25, and I'm gonna start in verse 22 on it. And it says, but the two children struggled with each other in her womb. So she went to ask the Lord Yahweh about it. Why is this happening to me? She asked. Verse 23, and the Lord told her, the sons in your womb will become two nations. It says from the very beginning, the two nations will be rivals.
So these two boys that was in Rebekah's womb will become rivals. I want you to go into that word rivals in Google.
Come.
So they was gonna be rivals. You think of when you look at the basketball and football and the boxing and sports industry, you know, you have people competing with something. Yep. You know, they be opponents. You know, they be rivals.
Yep. And when you go into that word rival in the Google definition, it says a person or thing competing with another.
Keep going.
And in the similar words, it goes into a competitor, adversary, enemy, opponent.
So these two boys was adversary to each other. They was enemies. You know, they was fighting in the womb for something. They was fighting for their birthright. So the Lord has put this enmity between these two boys in Rebecca's womb. That they hated each other. Give me that Ecclesiasticus. I think that John is 33 and 14.
Come. This is
Because the Lord has set this up. He put this enmity between these two boys, this hatred, that they wasn't going to get along, that they was going to be rivals.
Come. This is Ecclesiasticus, better known as Sirach, chapter 33 and verse 14. Good is set against evil, and life against death.
Yep.
So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly.
So the Lord has made Jacob to be the good one, to be the holy one. And he had made Esau to be the unholy one, to be the wicked one. Yeah, Con, hey, mention it.
Con, you know, like it says in Romans, you know what I'm saying, the Lord has made vessels unto honor and vessels unto dishonor. And Esau is that vessel made unto dishonor. Right?
Yeah, Con.
You know? And Jacob is the vessels fitted for honor.
Yeah.
And it says in Sirach, better known as Ecclesiasticus 33 and verse 15. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another.
So the Lord always, he made double of each thing. And that's balance. He said good against evil. And the scripture speaks about the Lord as a balanced power. Go to Romans chapter 9:11. Because all this was set up by the Lord. Because the Lord already had warned Rebecca that, hey, the elder was going to serve the younger.
This is Romans chapter 9 and verse 11. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand.
So this was about a purpose of the Most High. That his plans is going to stand. That the elder was going to serve the younger. So this was all predestinated in heaven. That Jacob was going to receive their birthright. He was going to receive the blessing. Keep going.
Yeah, finishing up, and it says that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth.
And who that called it was the Most High. He called it. Keep going.
Verse 12, it says, it was said unto her.
Who is her? Referring to Rebecca. Back in Genesis chapter 25.
Yep. And it says in verse 12 of Romans 9 and verse 12, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger.
Keep going.
And it says in verse 13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
So, hey, the Lord hated Esau, and he loved Jacob. So the Lord had it already set up, predestinated for these two twins to be at war against each other, to have that enmity towards each other. Yeah. He chose Jacob to be that holy, righteous seed, and he chose Esau to be that wicked, always coming against Jacob. So all these two forces was always going to be, they wasn't going to see eye to eye to each other. Yeah. They always going to be at a disagreement. Yeah. And go back to the Genesis chapter, where we left off at.
Genesis 25 and 11.
Oh yeah, go back to the
Come. This is back in Genesis, Genesis 25. This is back in Genesis 25 and verse 23 in the NLT. The Lord Yahweh told her, the sons, it says, the sons in your womb will become two nations. From the very beginning, the two nations will be rivals. One nation will be stronger than the other, and your older son will serve your younger son.
Now, keep reading. Jump to verse 24.
Come. Jump into verse 24 in Genesis 25 and verse 24 in the NLT. And when the time came to give birth, Rebecca discovered that she did indeed have twins.
Keep going.
And it says in verse 25, the first one was very red at birth,
Now read that in the KJV. Salaki, my bad.
Oh, Salaki. God, this is back in Genesis 25. Genesis 25 in verse 23 in the KJV, and it says, "And the Lord Yahweh said unto her, Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall serve, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger." Verse 24, and when her days, and it says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were two twins in her womb.
So what two twins was in her womb? Keep going.
It says in verse 25, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment.
So the first twin came out red like a hairy garment. Now why did this first boy came out red? It's because the Lord had cursed this one. He had stripped his pigment away, because this is the same spirit that was on Cain, and it came back later on in Esau. The same two boys, Cain and Abel, came back with Jacob and Esau. So the Lord had stripped Esau's pigment away, that he can't even stand in the sun for too long. And you look at these so-called white people, they can't stand in the sun too long. They started to catch skin disease, skin cancer. You know, they started to turn red. So they started to look like a devil that they are. So the Lord put that identification that, hey, these are the wicked. These are the seed of the wicked.
Yep. And if I may add, red also symbolizes a warning. Danger. And it says in verse 25 of Genesis 25, verse 25, and the verse came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
The Hebrew word for Esau is Ashashua. Wasted away is he. What was wasted away? His pigment. Keep going.
And it says in Genesis 25, verse 26, and it says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob.
Now you see, it did not describe Jacob, but it described Esau. Because back then, man, everybody was different shades of brown. But when Esau came out the womb, it was something new. Pretty sure my Rebecca and Isaac were like, man, what the hell is this? But this was just showing, this the Lord had put a curse upon him to identify he is that wicked. He is that evil one. Jump to Genesis chapter 27. Go to 38.
Come, this is Genesis 27 and verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
See, now this is after Jacob received the blessing from Isaac. And Esau came in weeping and crying, complaining towards his father about the blessing that Jacob had received. And Esau was like, man, hey, does thou have one more blessing? So keep going.
And it says in verse 39 of Genesis 27 and verse 39, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above.
So Isaac had blessed them with the fatness of the earth, meaning they was going to be living in nice places, nice area, eating good food, wearing good clothes. So they're gonna have the fatness of the earth, the dews of heaven. Come on now.
Yep, and it says in verse 40, and it says in Genesis 27 verse 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off his neck.
So this evil going to be ruling with the sword, Esau Edom. And he was going to conquer the earth with the sword. You think about, you go back to history, how did he get this land over in America? By the sword. He slaughtered the so-called enemies, Gad and Reuben, according to the scriptures. And right now, what's he doing? He ruling with the sword. Keep going.
And it says in Genesis 27 verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob.
So Esau hated his brother Jacob because he had received that blessing, that everlasting rulership. And what did Esau say? He said, hey, read it again.
Yeah, and it says, in verse 41.
Yeah.
And it says in Genesis 27 verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart.
He said in his heart, in his mind, keep going.
The days of mourning for my father are at hand.
Keep going.
Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
So he kept this perpetual hatred in his heart that, hey, yo, I'm going to slay my brother. That's that enmity that the Lord set between these two seeds, these two twin brothers. There's always going to be some type of war between these two. That's why you see Jacob getting gunned down in these streets. You so-called Negroes. Because this man always hated you. Always had that passionate of hate towards you.
Yep.
Go to Ecclesiastes. Go back to Ecclesiastes. Chapter 12, verse 10.
This is back in Sirach 12 and verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
So no matter how much Esau try to do good to you Israelites, this man is always going to show you his wickedness. Some way, somehow. Just like with that pandemic. When that pandemic took route. Like here it is, this man claiming that he's out here to help you, but his agenda is to destroy you, to depopulate the earth. And here it is, you got Bill Gates trying to push forth, this so-called vaccine or whatever, but this man cannot even cure Microsoft computer from a virus. What makes you think he's going to help you from not catching a virus? So it's not in this man to do good to you. So why would you trust him? Go to Ezekiel. Yeah.
This is Ezekiel 35 and starting at verse 5.
Yeah.
It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword.
So this man had a perpetual hatred, an everlasting hatred towards you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, and Spanish. And I always shed your blood with the sword. Keep going.
And it says, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end.
So even without the time where our iniquity had an end, hey, this man, he helped forward the infliction. Keep going.
And it says in Ezekiel 35 verse 6, therefore as I live, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shemel powers,
This is what the Lord said now.
I will prepare thee unto blood.
So the Lord's going to prepare slaughter for these people, for how he done, for what they have done to his people. Keep going.
Yep, and it says, and I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
So just as you did not hated shedding the blood of your own brother, hey, blood finna pursue you. The Lord finna prepare slaughter for your children and your people. for all the wickedness and all the evil and abomination that you have done to the Lord's people. So that's going to be a recompense for what you have done to his people. We're going to end it off in Revelation. I think, Revelation 12 and 10.
This is Revelation 12 verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
It said for the accuser of our brother is cast down. Who's the accuser of our brother? Esau, Edom. Because he's always pointing the finger, pointing the blame at the Lord chosen people. But he's the one that set the traps and the snare for Israel to fall in. And turn around and go snitch. Tell the Lord, look what they doing. So he's the accuser of our brother.
Yep. And it says for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, day and night.
So it finna come to a time where we finna see the downfall of our enemy. Esau, Edom, all these other nations. So the time is coming where, all the bloodshed, all the wickedness, and all the evil that Esau, Edom, and all these other nations have done to us, we're gonna do to them. So I hope this lesson was edifying to the elect. Shalom.